What's up everyone, General Ether here, and today we're not going over the storyline or anything like that. This video is going to be more technical. Today, as the title and thumbnail suggests, we're going to be discussing Black Ops 5 Zombies, and I'm going to be going over what I would personally want from next year's zombie season. Real quick before the video begins, I would also like to mention that we have a video up where me, Blitz, Luke, and some former APOV members discussed Black Ops 5 as well, so check that out if you're interested in the topic. With that said, let's talk Black Ops 5, or as the leaks suggest, Black Ops Cold War. So I guess the first thing I talk about is whatever the story will be. After the masterful ending that concluded the Ether story we've known for years, there's a total of 3 likely possibilities where the story will go. The most unlikely of the 3 is a Victus expansion. Essentially, what people think is that once the Victus crew and everything from the storyline is banished to the Dark Ether, we will see these characters back in action one final time as they fight their way through previous maps, and I'm not a huge fan of that idea, storyline-wise. Gameplay-wise, it'd be amazing having a reimagined transit, but storyline-wise, the whole ordeal would kind of be unnecessary. Like I said, I think the story ended perfectly, so having a continuation would kind of hurt TOG's sense of finality. I get it, the Victus crew had an unceremonious, abrupt death. However, when you really think about it, all the Victus characters are just pawns to serve out important characters' needs, so while their death was brutal and tragic, it makes sense considering the type of characters they were. However, I'm not completely against the idea. Having an expansion where our characters are done being bossed around for once and for once come up with plans of their own to finally escape their inescapable purgatory would be cool. But if it were done, I would hope Treyarch would execute it properly, but also make sure it doesn't underplay TOG's ending. The second possibility is having a continuation of Chaos. Now, there are 3 sides to this idea. There are those who despise Chaos and want it to stay in Black Ops 4. There are those who think it'd be unwise to continue it with one of the lead writers no longer working at Treyarch. And there are those who genuinely enjoy Chaos and want a conclusion to that unjust cliffhanger. Trust me, I know the feeling. Now, at the time I'm writing the script, I haven't gotten into Chaos, so I don't really stand anywhere on the spectrum. However, I am aware that Ancient Evil left fans of the story wanting a proper ending, and even if the story isn't the main focus of the next game, it'd be nice to have something to end the story with. Trust me, I talk from experience. Having stories you really love be left unfinished is the worst. Even if in the form of a comic book, there should be something for Chaos fans. Now, the third possibility, which is the most likely one, is an entirely new story. Some have proposed an Ether reboot, and no offense to any fans of the idea, but personally, I think it's a terrible one. Even if an Ether reboot was the best story known to man, I still wouldn't be fine with it. Listen, we've had 5 games devoted to the Ether story, each one building it up into a masterpiece until it was concluded in a brutal but mature ending to the 11-year story. Now, not only would a reboot fail in capturing that same spark as its predecessor, but it would ultimately be pointless since there's nothing left to do with or say with the Ether story and characters. Now, I know this is highly unlikely, but this is the kind of story I would want from Black Ops 5. Judging from the leaks, Black Ops 5, or Black Ops Cold War if you will, looks to be going for a mature, devastating tone that shows the devastating cold nature of warfare as opposed to glorifying it. Similar to COD games like World at War, and the most recent installment, the Modern Warfare reboot, which was a complete dumpster fire by the way. Anyways, if this is the tone the new game is going for, I think it would be ambitious yet powerful idea to have the new storyline be completely absent of anything supernatural, and to be instead be as grounded and brutal as possible. Now, just because there's nothing supernatural about the story doesn't mean it can't be like complex or anything like that. If we get a grounded, realistic story with brutal imagery and subtle sci-fi undertones, that could make for such a refreshing new take for this game mode. Now, this is originally what I thought World War 2 Zombies would be like, but over the season the story went in a more supernatural direction. That's as far as my thoughts go for the story. Now let's talk about some gameplay ideas. Now, put aside your hate for Black Ops 4 for a second and try to appreciate the things it went for. Black Ops 4's goal was to take the groundwork from BO3 and try to mold it into a refreshing gameplay experience that allowed for deeper customization and more strategic plays. However, what that led to was all of the perks doing nothing, a tedious pack-a-punch replacement, and a HUD that made you feel like you were wearing an Iron Man helmet. Now, our goal is to try to go for what Turk was going for, but actually make it work. So, let's take the perks and see what we can do with that. My idea is to have them work like Modern Warfare gun attachments. Let me explain. Let's say you have Jug. Now, if you were to just normally equip Jug, if you take more than 5 hits, your booty belongs to the zombies. However, what if as you leveled up more, you unlock multiple variations for each perk? So let's say you have an option to equip a version of Jug that lets you take up to 8 hits, but if you equip it, your movement slows down 30%. That way, not only would it encourage more playtime for the player so he or she can unlock more variants of each perk, but the different pros and cons would make the huge amount of variations vary among the player's base depending on an individual's playstyle. Not only would that allow for more customization, but the perks would actually be useful, unlike in BO4's case. Now, as far as the movement, I'm not even kidding when I say this, just make it the same as BO4's. BO4's movement was smooth and nice for the most part, and as for the HUD, make it the same as BO3's and you're golden. Now, for the Gobblegum system, keep it the same as BO4's elixirs, but for God's sake, add a Newton's cookbook this time around. And as for the main Easter egg quest, try to go for an Easter egg like the Reisenjar has. Make the steps challenging and complex for people trying it for the first time, but make sure the steps are fun and have something to do with the story. And as for the Easter eggs, literally just make it the exact opposite of Nikolai 1.0's fight and you're good. Well, that's all I really have to say about Black Ops 5. If the game even follows half of the things I mentioned on here, I'm confident it'll hold up as a worthy enough season. But what about you guys? What do you guys want to see in Black Ops 5? I'm honestly curious, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then consider checking out our other content, and I will see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.